You were probably wondering back in banding and seriation what the colors mean, and we've finally gotten to that point. Thank you for making it this far, and I would like to personally congratulate you for having the patience to sit through my lectures. I sincerely hope that you found them as interesting as I did. Colors have different meanings in different cultures. In the Andes, there is a symbolic difference between light and dark colors. In certain regions, white is associated with the masculine and black with the feminine. Colors can also be used to divide items into ethno-categories, such as quinoa, a grain similar to rice, llamas and alpacas, people, fabrics, and labor. Let's explore the use of color in different kinds of quipus. This chart shows color symbolism from three different sources. This is from a study of modern quipus by Carol Mackey and is only food items, potatoes, quinoa, maize, corn, etc. This is from a confessional quipu, which would have been used to keep track of sins to be confessed to a Catholic priest, and it's from 1992. This is from 1857. It's an observation of death records kept in quipus in Ttio. It is interesting to see things like the light blue being used for male children, white for single males, and then married adult males who likely had children are a mix of light blue and white. I'm not certain if that was intentionally symbolic, but it's fun to look for patterns. As you can see, even though the three columns use the same colors, the quipus are for very different subject matter, and the colors represent very different things. This chart comes from a group of ethnographic Aymara quipus. These used a combination of color and marking the chord with a knot to give it meaning. It was unclear from the text, from the article, right, if the knot was in the middle of the chord or at the end. Another thing to remember is that these observations are from modern quipus. When the Spanish wrote about quipus during the early colonial times, they did not include this much detail, so these color observations may not help us in deciphering Inka quipus. Another aspect of the cat challenge lies in the uncertainty of how people in the past perceived and categorized colors. Various cultures are known to draw lines between colors differently. At first glance, colors seem like a simple thing: black, gray, white, red, yellow, blue. But let's look at color as a gradient, because in real life, they're not in neat little boxes. So here, where would you draw the line between black and gray? Or red and orange? Frank Salomon talks a little bit about color in his book, The Chord Keepers. Using descriptions about how the people in Tupicocha talked about colors, I made these color gradients. These labels show the words used for certain colors in Tupicocha, and these labels show where I would draw the lines between colors and what I would call them, given that I am a native English speaker, female, and was raised in a certain culture. You probably draw the lines somewhere else. Even among the people in Tupicocha that Salomon interviewed, there were differences in how people described colors. I think it's interesting that white and light tan were described as blanco, which in standard Spanish means white. Ruski or lusqui is used for gray and tan, which in my mind are completely different. As you can see, I put them in different color gradients. Also, oke for a light gray and a light blue. And then just look at how many words were used for brown and tan colors. One day, I'd like to study how people perceive color in the context of what language they were raised with, but that's another project for another day. Another complication in Khipu studies is that colors can deteriorate over time, so it's difficult to even know what the color was when the Khipu was first made. When making your own Khipu, feel free to be creative with your use of color. In the more modern Tupicocha quipus, there is sometimes a bright color thread run through a cord, a feature not seen in archaeological quipus. The Tupicochans today aren't sure about what it meant, but they theorize that it was to indicate jurisdiction, such as a task belonging to the ayu as opposed to the household. The quipu art is ever growing, so don't be afraid to tweak it with your own modern touch.